For our final journey, we leave the grand, sweeping highways of American history behind. We are not on a main artery of the nation. We are in a dark vein, a 10-mile stretch of asphalt that serves no purpose but to connect two forgotten points in the dense woodlands of northern New Jersey. This is not a road haunted by the past, by the ghost of a dream. This is a place haunted by an active, malevolent presence. There are no nostalgic diners here. No quirky roadside attractions. There are no houses. No street lights. And for long, terrifying stretches, no cell service. There is only the road, the woods, and the stories. This is Clinton Road. And it has a reputation. The legends of this place are not passive. They do not wait for you to see them in the rearview mirror. They are interactive. They demand participation. And the most famous ritual takes place right here, on this unassuming bridge over Clinton Brook. The story is simple. They say a young boy fell from this bridge and drowned in the creek below. Or perhaps he was the victim of a hit and run, his body tossed over the edge. The details are murky, as they always are. But the legend is precise. If you come here at night and toss a coin over the side, the ghost of the boy will throw it back to you. A spectral offering. A lonely spirit, waiting for someone to play a game with. You stand in the cold, listening. You wait for the faint splash of the coin hitting the water. A confirmation that the offering has been received. You listen to the wind in the trees, the creak of the old bridge beneath your feet. You tell yourself it's just a story. A local legend to scare teenagers. You wait. But you do not hear a splash. Instead, from the pitch-black darkness below the bridge, you hear a different sound. A sharp, unmistakable clink. The sound of metal hitting asphalt. It is the sound of a quarter, landing on the road, just a few feet behind you. Every highway we have investigated so far has been haunted by a single, unifying tragedy. The Ozark Spooklight was born from the trauma of the Civil War and the Trail of Tears. Route 66 was haunted by the death of the American dream. These were places of memory, their ghosts the echoes of a coherent past. Clinton Road is different. It is not haunted by a single story. It is a magnet for nightmares. It is a 10-mile-long ecosystem of fear, where dozens of unrelated, terrifying legends have converged over the decades. Ghosts of children, phantom trucks, hellhounds, mutated creatures, mafia dumping grounds, and occult rituals, all have found a home here. This road is not a monument to a single tragedy. It is a library of American paranoia. The journey itself begins with a test of patience, a strange piece of local folklore that is entirely real. To get onto Clinton Road, you must wait at what is often called the longest traffic light in America. It's a single, isolated intersection, and the light can stay red for up to 5 minutes. There is no cross-traffic. There is no logical reason for the delay. It is your first taste of the road's unsettling nature. A bizarre, frustrating pause that forces you to sit and contemplate the dark path you are about to take. It feels less like a traffic signal and more like a final checkpoint, a last chance to turn back before you commit to the journey. Once you are on the road, the isolation is immediate and absolute. The dense forest canopy creates a tunnel-like effect, cutting you off from the outside world. There are no houses, no businesses, no streetlights. For long stretches, your cell phone will lose its signal, your GPS will fail, and your radio will pick up nothing but static. You are completely on your own. This isolation is the perfect fuel for fear. The human mind is a pattern-seeking machine. When it is deprived of familiar stimuli, of houses, lights, and other people, it begins to look for patterns in the shadows. Every snap of a twig in the woods, every flicker of a reflection on the windshield, becomes a potential threat. The road itself primes you to be afraid, long before you encounter any of its legendary inhabitants. The road is also physically dangerous. It is filled with blind curves, sudden S-turns, and hills that hide oncoming traffic. The most infamous of these is Dead Man's Curve, the very same spot where the ghost boy is said to reside. It's a treacherous, nearly 90-degree turn that has been the site of countless real-world accidents over the years. The danger is not just imagined, it is engineered into the very asphalt. This combination of factors, the bizarre traffic light, the profound isolation, and the genuine physical danger, makes Clinton Road a perfect psychological trap. It is a place that feels fundamentally wrong. It is a wound on the landscape, a path that seems to lead away from civilization and into something older, darker, and far more predatory. It is the perfect habitat for the stories that have attached themselves to it, a place where the barrier between our world and the world of nightmares is dangerously thin. The soul of a place is often defined by the stories it tells. And the first, most persistent story Clinton Road tells is one of loss. The legend of the ghost boy is the emotional anchor of the road's mythology. He is its most famous resident, a lonely, spectral figure who has drawn paranormal investigators and curious thrill-seekers to this bridge for decades. The ritual of the coin toss is a classic piece of interactive folklore, a way for the living to attempt a direct communication with the dead. But who was he? The stories, as always, are fractured and contradictory. One version claims he was a young boy who, while leaning over the railing to retrieve a dropped toy, fell into the rushing water below and drowned. His spirit remains, forever hoping someone will play with him, tossing back the coins as a sign of his presence. But another, darker version of the tale removes the element of tragic accident and replaces it with malice. This story claims the boy was the victim of a hit-and-run on this very curve. The driver, in a panic, threw the boy's body over the side of the bridge to hide the crime. In this version, the coin is not tossed back as a playful gesture. It is a warning. The boy's spirit is not lonely. It is angry, a vengeful entity tied to the site of its violent, unjust death. Regardless of the origin, the legend serves a crucial purpose. It attaches a human face to the road's danger. Dead Man's Curve is a real hazard. The story of the ghost boy acts as a cautionary tale, a piece of folklore that encodes a practical warning. Slow down, be careful, or you could end up like him. It is the first layer of the human stain on this road, a story of tragedy, whether accidental or intentional, that has soaked into the very concrete of this bridge. But not all of the road's human ghosts are so stationary. While the boy remains tethered to his bridge, another, more aggressive spirit is said to patrol the entire 10-mile stretch. This is the legend of the phantom truck. The accounts are remarkably consistent. A driver, usually alone and traveling at night, will notice a pair of headlights appear in their rearview mirror. At first, it seems like a normal vehicle, but it gains on them at an impossible speed. It is often described as a large pickup truck or an old semi, its engine roaring, its high beams blinding. It tailgates them aggressively, swerving as if preparing to ram them off the road. The driver, terrified, will speed up, trying to escape, but the truck matches their every move, a relentless, metallic predator. Then, just as the driver is certain they are about to be forced into a fatal crash, the headlights simply vanish. They don't turn off. They don't speed away. They just cease to exist. The driver pulls over, their heart pounding, and looks back to see nothing but the empty, silent road. This is a classic road ghost archetype, the phantom vehicle. But on Clinton Road, it takes on a more sinister meaning. This is not a sorrowful ghost, it is a violent one. It is a manifestation of pure road rage, an entity that seems to actively hunt the living. It is the second layer of the human stain, a ghost born not of tragedy, but of pure, aggressive menace. A sad ghost on a bridge. An angry ghost in a truck. These are compelling legends, but they are still just stories. It is easy to dismiss them as products of an overactive imagination, fueled by the road's natural spookiness. But the third, and most terrifying, layer of the human stain on Clinton Road is not a legend. It is a fact. The same isolation that makes this road a perfect breeding ground for ghost stories also makes it a perfect place to commit real-world atrocities. For decades, the dense, unpopulated woodlands surrounding Clinton Road were a known dumping ground for the Mafia and other contract killers operating out of New York and North Jersey. It was a place where a body could be left for weeks, or months, without being discovered. The most infamous of these predators was Richard Kuklinski, the notorious contract killer known as the Iceman. Kuklinski, who claimed to have murdered over 100 people for the mob, was known for his brutal methods, which included freezing his victims' bodies to obscure their time of death. He treated the remote wilderness of North Jersey as his personal graveyard. In May of 1983, a bicyclist riding on a path just off Clinton Road noticed a vulture circling in the trees. He followed it, and made a gruesome discovery. It was the body of a man, later identified as a victim of Kuklinski's. The Iceman himself later confessed in interviews that he had frequently used the area, describing the thrill of returning to the sites where he had left his victims, sometimes just to see if they were still there. This is the chilling, undeniable truth that underpins all of the road's other legends. The fear of what might be lurking in these woods is not just a paranoid fantasy. Real monsters have hunted here. Real evil has used this road as a tool for its horrific work. The feeling of being watched, the sense of a predatory presence in the darkness, it is not just in the driver's head. It is in the road's history. The human stain on Clinton Road is literal. The violence is not just a story, it is a documented reality. This knowledge acts as a dark amplifier for all the other legends. Suddenly, the story of a boy being thrown from a bridge doesn't seem so far-fetched. The aggression of a phantom truck feels less like a ghost and more like an echo of the real, human violence that has soaked into the soil. The ghosts in the machine are terrifying, but on Clinton Road, it is the ghosts of real men that are the most monstrous of all. The ghosts of men, both real and imagined, are enough to make any road haunted. But the mythology of Clinton Road does not stop with the human spirit. It delves into something far older, far more primal. For decades, drivers have reported encounters with creatures that do not belong in the New Jersey woodlands. They are often described as hellhounds, large, dog-like beasts with shaggy fur and glowing red eyes, seen darting across the road in the dead of night. Others report seeing bizarre crossbreeds, mutated animals that seem to be a patchwork of different species. Sightings of albino creatures are strangely common. Deer, foxes, and other animals stark white against the dark forest, appearing as ghostly omens. These are the unnatural inhabitants of Clinton Road, a bestiary of cryptids that adds a layer of creature feature horror to the ghost stories. And where there are monsters, there are often stories of those who would worship them. Deep in the woods, not far from the road, stands a peculiar stone structure. Locally, it is known as the Druidic Temple. Legend claims it is a site of occult rituals, a place where satanic cults and other dark groups gather to perform unholy ceremonies under the cover of the forest. The walls are said to be covered in cryptic symbols, and visitors report a feeling of intense dread, of being watched by unseen eyes. The reality is more mundane. The structure is simply the remains of an iron smelter's furnace, built in the 18th century. But in the ecosystem of Clinton Road, facts are irrelevant. The structure's strange, pagan appearance has made it a magnet for dark folklore. It has become the symbolic heart of the road's unholy reputation, a place where people believe the human evil of the road intersects with the unnatural. Strange creatures and occult temples. It all seems like pure, unadulterated folklore. Except, there is a bizarre and almost unbelievable piece of true history that might just explain it all. To find it, we have to look just beyond the trees that line Clinton Road, at a sprawling, 1,000-acre plot of land, and travel back to 1972. This was the year Warner Brothers opened Jungle Habitat, a massive, drive-through safari park. For 4 years, it was a major tourist attraction, home to over 1,500 exotic animals. Lions, tigers, baboons, elephants, camels, all roamed in large, open-air enclosures separated from the cars by little more than a cattle guard. But the park was plagued with problems. Animals escaped. Visitors were attacked. By 1976, facing financial trouble and local opposition, Warner Brothers abruptly shut the park down for good. And this is where the story takes a dark turn. The official report is that all 1,500 animals were safely relocated to other zoos and parks. But a persistent, terrifying local legend claims otherwise. The story goes that when the park closed, hundreds of animals were simply left behind, abandoned to fend for themselves in the harsh New Jersey wilderness. Others claim that during the chaotic shutdown, many of the most dangerous animals escaped into the surrounding woods, the very same woods that border Clinton Road. Suddenly, the puzzle pieces snap into place. Could the hellhounds and strange crossbreeds be the descendants of these escaped safari animals, interbreeding and adapting over the decades? Could the sightings of strange creatures be real, the product of a failed theme park experiment left to fester in the woods? This is the plausible mystery that elevates Clinton Road from a collection of ghost stories into a truly unique American legend. The possibility that real, non-native predators could be stalking these woods provides a tangible, biological source for the fear. The monsters of Clinton Road may not be supernatural. They may be something far more terrifying, real. So what is the truth of Clinton Road? Is it a portal to hell? A paranormal vortex? Or is it something more complex, and perhaps more terrifying? After investigating its many legends, from the human to the inhuman, a clear picture begins to emerge. Clinton Road is not haunted by a single entity. It is a self-sustaining ecosystem of fear, a place where multiple, distinct elements have converged to create a perfect storm of terror. First, there is the genuine danger. The road itself is a physical threat. The blind curves, the lack of shoulders, and the infamous dead man's curve have been the site of real, tragic accidents for decades. This provides a constant, underlying layer of legitimate peril. Second, there is the true crime. The confirmed history of Mafia killers like Richard Kuklinski using these woods as a dumping ground is not a legend, it is a fact. This lends a horrific, real-world credibility to the feeling of being watched, the sense that real monsters have walked this ground. Third, there is the plausible mystery. The forgotten history of the Warner Brothers jungle habitat provides a tantalizingly logical, yet terrifyingly unconfirmed, explanation for the sightings of strange creatures. The what-if of escaped, interbreeding animals is, for many, more frightening than any supernatural beast. Finally, there are the classic archetypes. The ghost boy on the bridge and the phantom truck are textbook examples of American road folklore. They are stories that exist in different forms all over the country, but on Clinton Road, they have found the perfect, fertile soil in which to grow, amplified by the road's other, very real dangers. These elements all feed each other. The fear of a real car crash on Dead Man's Curve makes the story of the ghost boy more believable. The knowledge that the Mafia dumped bodies here makes the aggression of the phantom truck feel less like a ghost and more like an echo of human violence. The possibility of escaped safari animals makes every strange sound in the woods a potential threat. Clinton Road's ultimate secret is that it is a masterclass in psychological priming. The isolation, the lack of cell service, the bizarre traffic light, it all works to strip away our sense of security, leaving our minds vulnerable to suggestion. It is a place that feels wrong, and so we fill in the blanks with the darkest parts of our imagination. The true haunting of Clinton Road is the road itself, an engine that manufactures fear, a place that has become a living, breathing legend. Our journey is now at its end. From the spectral hitchhikers of our earliest highways to the phantom lights of the Ozarks, from the melancholic ghosts of a dying mother road to the aggressive ecosystem of fear on Clinton Road, we have traveled thousands of miles down the darkest, most storied roads in America. And across all those miles, a single, unifying truth has emerged. The true haunting of America is not the presence of ghosts, but the power of memory. These highways are more than just asphalt and concrete. They are the arteries of the nation, and they carry its stories in their very dust. The legends they hold are a form of modern folklore, a way for us to process our collective history, our greatest triumphs, and our deepest anxieties. The vanishing hitchhiker is not just a ghost, she is the embodiment of our fear of the stranger, a story born in the early days of car culture when the open road was both a symbol of freedom and a gateway to unknown dangers. The Ozark spook light is not just a mysterious orb, it is the lingering grief of the land itself, a spectral scar left behind by the real-world tragedies of the Civil War and the Trail of Tears, a mystery that allows us to acknowledge a pain too deep to put into words. The ghosts of Route 66 are not just random specters. They are the children of abandonment, the collective sorrow of a nation that traded community for convenience, the story of the American dream, left to wither in the rearview mirror. And the horrors of Clinton Road are the manifestation of our primal fears, the fear of the dark, of the unknown predator, and of the real, human evil that can lurk just beyond the reach of civilization. The highways of America are haunted because America itself is haunted. They are haunted by the hopes of the Dust Bowl farmers, by the spirits of the forgotten soldiers, by the victims of the killers who used their isolation as a weapon, and by the dreams of every traveler who ever set out in search of a better life just around the next bend. These stories, these legends, are our way of remembering. They are the echoes on the asphalt. They ensure that the tragedies are not forgotten, that the mysteries are not dismissed, and that the dead, in some small way, are still heard. So the next time you find yourself on a lonely road as the sun begins to bleed out below the horizon, listen. Listen past the hum of your engine, past the whisper of the wind. You might just hear them. The stories the road has been waiting to tell you. The last, defiant heartbeat of the haunted highways.